books and games and things like that. So kids and
Welcome back to the Morning Brew, everybody. Oh, we're having a fun show today, and we've moved over to the couch. Our next guest is Tom Anderson. Tom is with a company called Blackfish, one of those great tech startup. Well, I don't know. Are you a startup, Tom?
Yep, yeah, we're a startup.
I don't want to misclassify you. And
no, early stage, right?
There's so many of these interesting companies that are around in our city, and this is certainly one. Blackfish is a new startup, and you're going to learn all about it here from Tom. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's
Good
great.
to have you here. So this is an app that's about books and games.
Right. Yeah, so we originally started here in Albuquerque, and my last company spun out of Sandia and got into the game side of the business there. We made the world's first 3D touch video game controller. And I got a lot of experience in licensing video games, and so we've taken that into the new business where we're now porting it into apps and mobile phones and things like that.
You decided to get into a real competitive area, this whole video game thing, but you had a niche, right, when you started?
Yeah. A lot of what we do, where our competitive advantages are, is in the licensing side. So we license other people's content and bring it over to our platform. And in that way, get a lot of content really inexpensively. That's where a lot of my past has been.
That's also where you make some money. That's the whole secret to Microsoft's success,
right?
Is the licensing, right?
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I think you're on the right track. What was your background out of Sandia?
Yeah. So
how do we tie it to Sandia?
At Sandia, I worked in a field called haptics, which lets you just sense a touch in computers. And we exclusively licensed the technology out of Sandia. Started a company here in town, took it public, raised a lot of money, and then got into the licensing side. Like I said, so now what we're doing is taking other companies' games and content and apps and putting it into our Blackfish platform. So one example, for example, is we license a bunch of kids' book apps. So we'll take a kid's book and we'll turn it into a digital book. So then when you click on it, the characters move, the words highlight when it's narrated, things like that.
Sure, we've all seen little kids doing, they're amazing on iPads and everything else now.
Yeah, totally, right.
Yeah. So who's your target market with this?
Well, like I said, we started in book apps and we were targeting kids.
Yeah, right.
But as the technology's grown, we've put a lot of intellectual property protection behind the platform and put just a lot of money into really a game engine. We were using it as a book engine, but it's really a game engine for tablets. And we've expanded. So a lot of what we're doing now is really using it as a marketing platform. So for example, we go to local businesses, and a local business can take our platform and use it to implement rewards programs, or instead of having a wallet full of 12 of those punch cards, you can do it all digitally, things like that. Yeah.
Okay, you were giving me a scenario with a restaurant, for example.
Sure, yeah.
How would that work?
Yeah, so a customer goes into a restaurant, buys a burrito or a burger or something like that, gets one of our codes, enters it into the phone, and now you can do the buy 7, get 1 free. Because we've got all of the licensed content, you could also do things where you, after you've gotten a certain number of points, you can trade it in for games or books or other things like that as well.
So I don't have to keep one of those little cards in my wallet. I can have it all on my phone.
You can get rid of those cards. I told my wife what we were doing, where we were starting to focus, and she said, and she pulled out her wallet and started pulling out card after card and a big stack of them.
Sure.
It's so inconvenient to have those, and you lose them, and
This just simplifies everything.
Yeah, it's a great thing for businesses. It's great for businesses in general, because in general these types of programs they work. They can increase sales 3 to 5%, which has an even bigger increase in profits.
Nice.
And then because we've got all the nice content, restaurants don't have to give as much product away. A lot of times people will use points to get books. So if you're a parent, you go into a store, you can get a free children's book when you purchase a burger, for example.
Makes total sense. Now, how many people work at Blackfish? Are you creating some jobs? And
Depends on how you count, right?
Yeah.
So we're a small team right now. There's probably, I would say, 5 or 6 of us. A number of those are part-time, but a couple full-time. So.
Yeah. And what's the vision for the company? Taking this prototype national or worldwide or what?
The bigger vision is our platform is, I would argue, one of the best platforms out there for distributing content.
Sure.
And so longer term, you could imagine just many different ways. You could imagine putting our apps in greeting cards, for example. You buy a greeting card and there's an app bundled with it. You could imagine bundling apps like on an app on a cereal box in a grocery store.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so because we've got this great distribution network and just distribution platform, we want to really become the company that's creating a lot of app distribution.
Fascinating. Would it work on television if we put a QR code up on the screen? Would that work?
Sure, yeah. So
Wow.
if you have our Blackfish app, so you go onto your mobile phone or your tablet, and you just search for Blackfish or Blackfish children's books. You can download our app, and then you can enter a code into Blackfish. So here you can see, you can enter the code TABREW, and you can get one of our books. This is a great book. The lady that created this app, her son had Asperger's, and so she wrote just this really sweet, wonderful book about how it was kind of being picked on in school, and so it was the terrible taunting. So it addresses bullying, it addresses Asperger's, and again, it's neat because book apps can have features that ebooks and digital ebooks don't have. So every page you can click on his sidekick, the hedgehog, and you can learn about Asperger's. So it's a really neat book. So everybody can try it for free on Blackfish.
Interesting tie-in.
Yeah.
And you can use this with any kind of children's book.
Yeah, any kind of children's book, any kind of game or app. Yeah, so it's a powerful platform that we've been developing the last couple of years.
This is amazing. So as you take this out in the marketplace, what's the feedback you're getting from people who do, put together deals like this?
Yeah, kids have loved it.
Yeah.
We have a story creator app, and it's funny. Like I'll open up my tablet, and my daughter will have created a story, and it's like, oh, the princess, turned into a mermaid and found a treasure chest, and I'm just going through, and it's like, wow, she made this. So kids love
They're so creative,
reading and creating, with our technology. And then now, as I've started using it as a marketing platform, it's actually been really well received. I've just starting to really go out and talk to businesses and really get that going. And pretty much everybody we've spoken to so far really loves the concept, so it's going well.
My 3-year-old grandson can teach me things on my iPad that I don't know. It's incredible. They go through it. It's
Kids pick it up
incredible.
so quick. Right?
They really do. And there's no limit, the top end to this. It can go anywhere.
Yeah, the app business is already a $10 billion industry. It's the fastest growing area in software, and our technology, I think, really can create a fundamental shift in how apps and content are distributed.
Especially with the licensing angle.
Yeah. Our business model is kind of twofold. It's really setting up these distribution channels where we can get our content out, and then there's so much good content in apps right now. I mean, the main challenge anybody in the app space has is being discovered. There's just so many of them out there. So by creating these distribution channels, starting with restaurants, but expanding over time, and then the other half of the business is the licensing side. Those go hand in hand really well, and that's really how we'll grow the business.
You intend to keep the company here?
Yeah. I'm native New Mexican, born and raised in New Mexico.
Good.
So, yeah.
This is a great example of what can happen, and we've all heard about the stories where a tech idea comes out of Sandia Labs and goes into the marketplace, and here's a brilliant example of that. You got any other ideas in the drawer over there?
No, just focused on this right now. There's so many different places you could take this. So yeah.
This is fascinating. Hey, Thomas, great to meet you.
Yeah, it's nice
and
meeting you. Thank you.
Thanks for coming on the show. We've put up all the access info on the screen, and Tom Anderson with us here today on the Morning Brew with Blackfish. Good to meet you. Thanks for coming in.
I appreciate it.
You bet. Fascinating. I love it. We'll be back more on the Morning Brew right after this quick timeout.